Stop scrolling. Because if this message found you right now, it's not random. It's not coincidence. And it's definitely not by accident. There's something happening behind the scenes of your life that you cannot see yet. Something bigger than your confusion, bigger than your delay, bigger than your pain. And the reason you feel like God has gone silent is not because He left you. It's because He's working on something too big to explain right now. Listen carefully. Because this might change how you see everything you're going through. Right now you're wondering why things stopped working, why doors suddenly closed, why people changed, why the answers you prayed for never came, why it feels like heaven went quiet on you. But what if I told you? Silence is not rejection. Silence is preparation. Silence is construction. Silence is God stepping in and saying this part. You don't need to understand yet. Because if He showed you everything He's fixing, it would overwhelm you. If He explained every delay, you wouldn't have the strength to wait. And if He revealed the full plan, you might actually try to control it and ruin it. So instead, He goes quiet. Not to ignore you, but to protect the process. Think about it. The biggest changes in life don't happen loudly. They happen in silence. A seed doesn't grow while making noise. It grows underground. Hidden. Unseen. And for a while, it looks like nothing is happening. But deep below the surface, everything is changing. Roots are forming. Strength is building. Life is preparing to break through. And that's exactly where you are right now. You're in the underground season, where it feels like nothing is moving. But everything is being aligned. Every delay you're frustrated about. Every door that didn't open. Every person who walked away. It's all part of something being rearranged in your favor. But here's the part most people don't understand. When God is about to do something bigger, He often removes distractions first. He isolates you. He quiets things down. He creates distance. Not to punish you, but to position you. Because what's coming next in your life cannot be built in the same environment you were comfortable in. It requires growth. It requires separation. It requires transformation. And transformation is never loud. It's silent. It's uncomfortable. It's confusing. And yes, sometimes it feels lonely. But that doesn't mean you're forgotten. It means you're being prepared. Let me say that again. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared. And preparation always feels like nothing is happening. Until suddenly everything changes. And when that moment comes, it will make sense why things didn't work out earlier. It will make sense why certain people couldn't stay. It will make sense why you had to wait longer than you expected. Because what God is fixing right now is not just one problem. It's a chain of things. It's connections you haven't met yet. Opportunities you're not ready for yet. Blessings that require a stronger version of you. And if He gave it to you too early, it would break you instead of building you. So He pauses. He works in silence. He adjusts things behind the scenes. And all He asks from you is trust. But trust is hard when you don't see anything changing. Trust is hard when prayers feel unanswered. Trust is hard when you feel stuck in the same place. But this is where faith becomes real. Because real faith is not believing when things are obvious. Real faith is holding on when nothing makes sense. And that's exactly the season you're in right now. A season where you're being stretched. Where your patience is being tested. Where your belief is being refined. And even though it feels uncomfortable, this is the season that builds the strongest version of you. Think about every strong person you admire. None of them became strong in easy moments. They were shaped in silence. In waiting. In uncertainty. In moments where they had no choice but to keep going without answers. And that's what you're doing right now. Even if you don't realize it. Every day you wake up and keep pushing. Every time you choose not to give up. Every moment you keep believing even when it's hard. You are growing. You are becoming someone who can handle what's coming next. Because what's coming next is bigger than your current mindset. Bigger than your current strength. Bigger than your current understanding. And God knows that. So instead of rushing the process, He slows it down. He builds you up piece by piece. Quietly. Carefully. Intentionally. Because He's not just fixing your situation. He's fixing you for the situation. And that's why the silence is necessary. Because if everything was loud and fast, you would miss the transformation happening inside you. And this is where most people quit. They walk away in the silent season. They lose faith when nothing seems to change. They assume God forgot them. When in reality, they were closest to their breakthrough. Don't make that mistake. Don't walk away when things get quiet. Because silence is often the final stage before something shifts. It's the calm before the breakthrough. The pause before the blessing. The moment where everything is being aligned perfectly. And you just can't see it yet. But one day, you will look back at this exact season and realize it was necessary. You will understand why things had to slow down. Why you had to wait. Why certain doors had to close. Because it all led you to something better. Something bigger. Something you couldn't have reached any other way. So instead of asking why is God silent, start asking what is He preparing me for? Because that question changes everything. It shifts your mindset from frustration to expectation. From doubt to trust. From fear to faith. And once you make that shift, you start seeing things differently. You start realizing that even in silence, God is still moving, still working, still guiding, still protecting. still preparing something beyond what you can imagine. And erase the truth you need to hold on to. Just because you don't hear God doesn't mean He's not speaking. Sometimes His actions are louder than words. Sometimes His silence is the answer. Sometimes His delay is the protection. And sometimes what feels like nothing is actually everything coming together. So don't rush this season. Don't try to force things to happen. Don't lose hope just because it's quiet. Because right now, while you're waiting, while you're questioning, while you're wondering what's next, God is already ahead of you, fixing what you can't fix, arranging what you can't see, and preparing something bigger than you expected. And when it finally happens, when everything falls into place, when the doors open, when the answers come, you won't just be thankful for the blessing. You'll be thankful for the silence that led you to it. And listen. Before you move on, you need to understand this, because this is where everything shifts for you. The silence you're in right now is not just about waiting, it's about becoming. Because what God is preparing for you will demand a version of you that you haven't fully stepped into yet. And that's why things feel slow, that's why answers feel delayed, that's why it seems like nothing is happening. Because God is not only working on your situation, He's working on your identity. He's removing old patterns, breaking old mindsets, disconnecting you from things that would destroy what He's about to give you. And that process cannot be rushed. It has to be done in silence. It has to be done in a way where you don't rely on noise, validation, or constant signs. Because if you only believed when you saw results, you would never grow into real faith. And real faith is what carries you into the next level. And erase the part most people don't want to hear. Sometimes God goes quiet because He wants to see if you will still trust Him without constant reassurance. Not because He needs proof, but because you need growth. Because the level you're asking for requires stability. It requires discipline. It requires belief that is not shaken by temporary silence. And right now, you are being trained in that exact thing. Every moment you keep going without clear answers. Every time you choose faith over fear. Every second you refuse to give up even when it's hard. You are building something inside you that cannot be broken easily. And that's powerful. Because what's coming next in your life is not small. It's not ordinary. It's something that will test you in ways you've never been tested before. And if you are not prepared mentally and spiritually, you won't be able to sustain it. That's why God takes His time. That's why He doesn't rush your process. That's why He allows the silence to stretch you. Because stretching creates capacity. And capacity is what allows you to receive more without falling apart. Think about it. If everything you prayed for suddenly showed up today, would you be ready to handle it? Would you be able to manage it? Would you be able to keep it? Or would it overwhelm you? This is why the silence is necessary. Because while you're asking for more, God is making sure you can handle more. While you're praying for elevation, God is building your foundation. And a strong foundation is always built quietly. No one sees it. No one celebrates it. But without it, nothing else can stand. And right now, your foundation is being strengthened. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if it feels like you're stuck. Even if it feels like you're going in circles. You are not stuck. You are being structured. Every delay is adding strength. Every quiet moment is adding depth. Every unanswered question is building patience. And patience is what separates those who quit from those who actually reach what they were meant for. And this is where you need to be careful. Because the enemy of your progress is not failure. It's impatience. It's the urge to rush what is meant to take time. It's the temptation to give up just because you don't see immediate results. But if you can stay in this season without losing your belief, if you can remain steady even when things are unclear, if you can trust the process even when it's uncomfortable, you will come out of this stronger than ever. And when the moment finally arrives, it won't just be a small shift. It will be a complete transformation. Because everything God has been fixing in silence will start showing up all at once. Doors that were closed will suddenly open. Opportunities that didn't exist will appear. Connections you never expected will come into your life. And you'll realize that nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Every second of waiting had a purpose. Every moment of silence had meaning. And you'll finally understand why God didn't answer you immediately. Because if He had, you would have settled for less than what He had planned. And what He has planned is always bigger. Always better. Always beyond what you can currently imagine. So instead of fearing the silence, learn to trust it. Learn to grow in it. Learn to become stronger because of it. Because this is not the end of your story. This is the part where everything is being prepared for something greater. And you are closer than you think. Even if it doesn't feel like it right now. You are closer than you've ever been, and right here. This is the part where most people break. Not because they're weak, but because the silence gets too deep. The waiting gets too long. And the mind starts creating stories that were never true. Telling you that nothing is changing, telling you that maybe this isn't meant for you, telling you that you've been overlooked, forgotten, or left behind. But listen carefully. That voice is not truth. It's fear trying to fill the space where faith is supposed to grow. Because when God is quiet, your mind will try to become loud. It will replay doubts, it will magnify delays, it will make you question everything you once believed. And if you're not careful, you'll start making decisions based on temporary emotions instead of permanent purpose. And that's exactly what this season is testing. Not your ability to move fast, but your ability to stay grounded when nothing around you makes sense. Because anyone can believe when things are working. Anyone can stay positive when doors are opening. But it takes a different level of strength to stay committed when everything feels paused. When nothing is giving you feedback. When you're putting in effort and not seeing results yet. And that's the version of you God is building right now. Someone who doesn't collapse under silence. Someone who doesn't walk away just because things slowed down. Someone who understands that just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's empty. Because silence is often where clarity is formed. It's where distractions are removed. It's where you start hearing what truly matters. And that's why isolation sometimes becomes part of the process. Not to make you feel alone, but to make you stronger without depending on constant validation. Because the truth is, if you needed constant noise to feel confident, you would never be able to handle the bigger responsibilities ahead. So God reduces the noise. He pulls you away from what's comfortable. He creates distance from what's familiar. And in that space, you begin to discover a different kind of strength. One that doesn't rely on people clapping for you. One that doesn't depend on immediate results. One that stays steady even when things are uncertain. And that strength is what will carry you into your next level. Because where you're going, not everyone can go with you. Not every habit can follow you. Not every mindset can survive there. And that's why things are being stripped away right now. Even if it hurts. Even if it feels confusing. It's necessary. Because you cannot step into a bigger purpose while holding on to smaller patterns. And this is where growth becomes uncomfortable. Because letting go is never easy. Releasing control is never simple. Trusting without proof is never natural. But that's exactly what transforms you. Because transformation doesn't happen when everything feels good. It happens when you choose to keep going even when it doesn't. And right now, you are in that exact moment. A moment where you have two choices. You can either let the silence weaken your belief, or you can let it strengthen your faith. You can either assume nothing is happening, or you can trust that everything is being aligned. And that choice will determine what happens next in your life. Because the process is already in motion. God is already working. Things are already shifting behind the scenes. But your response to this season will decide how you step into what's coming. If you give up now, you delay what was already being prepared. If you lose faith now, you disconnect from what was already being aligned. But if you stay, if you hold on, if you continue even when it's hard, you will walk into something that makes this entire season make sense. And not just a little sense. Complete clarity. The kind where you look back and say, now I understand why it had to be this way. Because what God is fixing right now is not just external. It's internal. It's deeper than circumstances. It's about making you unshakable. Because temporary strength is easy to build. But lasting strength, the kind that doesn't break under pressure, that kind of strength is built in silence. It's built in moments where no one is watching, where no one is applauding, where you have to keep going purely because you believe there's something greater ahead. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. Even if you feel tired, even if you feel uncertain, you're still here. still trying, still holding on. And that matters more than you realize. Because consistency in silent seasons creates breakthroughs in visible ones. And your breakthrough is not as far as it feels. It's closer than your doubts are telling you. It's nearer than your circumstances are showing you. Because the moment things feel the most still is often the moment right before everything shifts. So don't let this silence fool you. Don't let it convince you that nothing is happening. Because behind what you can see, God is fixing something bigger than you expected. Something that will not just change your situation, but change your entire direction. And when it finally unfolds, you won't just be grateful that it happened. You'll be grateful that it didn't happen any sooner. Because you'll realize you weren't ready before. But now, you are, and now. This is the moment where everything you've been feeling, everything you've been questioning, everything that didn't make sense, starts coming together in a way you didn't expect. Because the silence you've been in was never meant to confuse you. It was meant to transform you. It was shaping a version of you that doesn't panic when things slow down, that doesn't break when answers don't come immediately, that doesn't lose direction just because the path isn't clear. Because where you're going, clarity won't always come first. Sometimes you have to move with trust before you move with sight. And that's exactly what this season has been teaching you. To stop depending on what you can see and start trusting what you can't. Because what you can't see right now is far more powerful than what you can. There are things being arranged in your favor at this very moment. Conversations happening that include your name. Doors being prepared that you didn't even know existed. Situations being corrected that would have hurt you if they played out differently. And all of it is happening quietly. Without announcements. Without warnings. Without visible signs. Because God doesn't need noise to move. He doesn't need attention to create impact. He works in ways that are beyond human understanding. And that's why trying to figure everything out in this season will only exhaust you. Because you're trying to solve something that is being handled on a level you cannot access yet. So instead of overthinking every delay, instead of questioning every quiet moment, start shifting your focus. Start realizing that this silence is not empty. It's active. It's intentional. It's precise. It's working for you even when it doesn't feel like it. And this is where your mindset becomes everything. Because if you keep seeing this season as a pause, you'll feel stuck. But if you start seeing it as preparation, you'll feel progress. Even without visible results. And that shift alone can change how you experience this entire phase of your life. Because now you're no longer waiting with frustration. You're waiting with expectation. You're no longer questioning if something will happen. You're trusting that something is already happening. And that changes your energy, your focus, your belief. It makes you stronger, calmer, more grounded. And that's exactly the state you need to be in when the next opportunity shows up. Because when it comes, it won't come slowly. It won't come in small pieces. It will come all at once. In ways you didn't predict. In ways you didn't plan. Because that's how God moves after a long silent season. Suddenly everything shifts. Suddenly what felt impossible becomes reality. Suddenly what you were waiting for starts chasing you. And in that moment, you won't be the same person who entered this season. You'll be stronger, wiser, more prepared, more aware, and most importantly, you'll be ready. Ready to handle what you once prayed for. Ready to maintain what you once asked for. Ready to step into a level you couldn't have sustained before. And that's why the silence had to last as long as it did. Because it wasn't just about fixing things around you. It was about fixing things within you. Aligning your thoughts, strengthening your patience, deepening your faith. So when the blessing arrives, it doesn't overwhelm you. It elevates you. And this is the truth you need to carry with you from this moment forward. Just because God is quiet doesn't mean He's absent. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Just because the answers haven't come yet doesn't mean they're not on the way. Everything you're experiencing right now is part of a bigger picture. A bigger plan. A bigger shift that is already in motion. And you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not stuck. You are exactly where you need to be for what's about to happen next. So hold on a little longer. Stay steady a little stronger. Trust a little deeper. Because this silence is not the end of your story. It's the final preparation before everything changes. And when it does, you'll finally see. God was never quiet without a reason. He was fixing something bigger than you could ever imagine. Just for you, and if you've made it this far, understand this isn't just another message. This is confirmation. Because there's a reason you're still here, still listening, still searching for clarity in the middle of everything that feels uncertain. And that reason is simple. You were never meant to quit in this season. You were meant to understand it. Because what you're experiencing right now is the final stretch. The part of the journey where things feel the most unclear, the most uncomfortable, the most silent. Right before everything begins to make sense. And this is where your mindset matters more than ever. Because the same silence that breaks some people builds others. The same waiting season that makes some people give up is the exact season that prepares others for everything they asked for. And right now, you are deciding which one you will be. Because the truth is, you didn't come this far just to stop here. You didn't go through everything you've been through just to walk away when things got quiet. No, there's something greater attached to your persistence. Something bigger connected to your ability to keep going even when you don't have all the answers. Because consistency in uncertain seasons is what separates temporary belief from unshakable faith. And unshakable faith is what carries you into extraordinary outcomes. And that's exactly where you're headed. even if you can't fully see it yet. Because what God has been building in silence is not small. It's not ordinary. It's not something that will come and go quickly. It's something lasting. Something meaningful. Something that will change the direction of your life in a way that temporary winds never could. And that's why it required this level of preparation. That's why it required this level of patience. Because anything that comes too fast can be lost just as quickly. But what is built slowly? What is prepared carefully? What is aligned in silence? That kind of blessing stays. That kind of breakthrough lasts. And you're closer to it than you realize. Even though your current situation might not reflect it. Even though your surroundings might not confirm it. Even though your emotions might try to doubt it. The truth is, things are already shifting. Not loudly. Not visibly. But powerfully. And when that shift becomes visible, it will feel sudden. It will feel unexpected. It will feel like everything changed overnight. But deep down, you'll know it didn't happen overnight. It was being prepared in every silent moment you almost gave up. In every day you kept going without clarity. In every second you chose faith over frustration. And that's why this part of your story is so important. Because this is where your endurance is being proven. This is where your belief is being solidified. This is where you become the kind of person who doesn't just hope for change, but is ready to handle it when it arrives. And that readiness is everything. Because opportunities don't just require desire. They require discipline. Blessings don't just require prayer. They require preparation. And right now, whether you feel it or not, you are being prepared. In ways you don't fully understand yet. But soon, very soon, it will all connect. The delays, the detours, the silence, the confusion. All of it will come together in a way that finally makes sense. And when it does, you won't regret this season. You'll respect it. You won't wish it was easier. You'll be grateful it shaped you. Because you'll realize that without this silence, you wouldn't have become who you needed to be for what was coming. And that's the moment everything changes. Not just around you, but within you. Because now you don't just believe because things are going well. You believe because you've seen what happens when nothing seems to be happening. You've experienced the power of silent growth. You've lived through the season where everything looked still. But everything was actually moving. And that kind of understanding, that kind of faith, can't be shaken easily. It stays with you. It guides you. It strengthens you in future moments when things don't make immediate sense. Because now you know. Silence is not the absence of progress. It's the presence of preparation. And with that awareness, you move differently. You think differently. You trust differently. And that difference is what sets you apart. So from this moment on, don't fear the quiet. Don't doubt the delays. Don't question the process every time it slows down. Instead, remember this. If God is quiet, it's because He's fixing something bigger. Something better. Something more aligned than what you originally imagined. And your only job right now is to stay ready, stay faithful, and stay moving forward. Even if it's one small step at a time. Because the moment everything shifts, you won't need to chase what's meant for you. It will find you, fully prepared, fully aligned, and right on time.